Another thing you could do with the whiteboard is put in a 100 chart, and that can be used to help with other assignments. For example, in this everyday math assignment, the student's supposed to circle the smaller number or circle the larger number. And if they do not know how to do that in their heads, then a 100 chart is going to be very helpful. And if they have trouble doing it on the 100 chart just by looking, then marking the chart is going to help out. So for example, the first one, on the pair 14 and 23, you could help the student, or the student could help themselves by finding 14 and circling it, and finding 23 and circling it, and then they could compare where they found them to figure out which one is larger and which one is smaller. Of course, they will have to know how 100 charts work, like the sequence of the numbers, for that to be helpful. Another application of the hundreds chart within the whiteboard sleeve is to help students find numbers on the chart. So, for example, if a student is looking for the number 47, then they could find the numbers that start with a 4, so the 40s row, and underline it or circle it. And then they could find the column that ends in a 7. And then they found the number right there in the center. This will help students who don't yet realize or don't consistently apply the principle that within each column, the last digit stays the same, and within each row, the first digit stays the same, except for down here in the last column. Another thing that this chart could be used for is number neighbors. So if your student has a worksheet like this and they are not able to do it in their heads, then the hundreds chart will be very useful. So this plus symbol has a number in the center. Then the box here would be for the number that is 1 fewer, 1 more, 10 more, 10 fewer. So how a student would use the hundreds chart to do it would be by first locating the number and drawing a box around it, and then just drawing a box around the rest of it until they have that plus symbol. And then they could just copy it into the chart. If you are guiding your student as they do this, then ask them out loud things like, how many less or how many fewer is this, how many more is this, same for this and the top. If your student is the one doing it, then I recommend them doing it like this. If you are drawing on the board for your student and they're just going to copy based on what you draw, then I think color coding can be a good idea, because it groups them in a logical way. For example, if I do this horizontal one in blue, I'm counting by ones in the blue area, and then I can do the vertical part in green, and this is where I'm counting by tens. And then of course there's just simple addition. So in this worksheet, a student might use a 100 chart or a number line to figure out 10 plus 8. So they'd find the number, circle it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the answer. Or it could be used for subtraction. Same exact way. 18 minus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my answer. And a lot of these worksheets don't even go past 20, so a number line might make more sense to use. The reason I like to use the hundreds chart is because it will be necessary for larger numbers when we don't have a number line that goes all the way to 100. So maybe using them in conjunction would be helpful so that a student realizes that they can be used to achieve the same goal. 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We get the same, we get the same answer.